Good evening, fans of the Peoria Sunday Morning League. Welcome back to Clutch Sports Media's third edition of the Peoria Sunday Morning League Game of the Week, right here on ClutchSportsIL.com. Have a great matchup here in store at the East Side Center as we wind down the month of July. Jonathan Michael here alongside Teddy Ball, ready to bring you tonight's action. It's the Miller Lite Falcons and the Brienzo's Orioles getting set to do battle today. Teddy, it's cooling off a little bit, wind blowing in from center field. Two teams that are looking to get back on track here so far this year.
Yeah, it should be a good, exciting game here today on one side for the Miller Lite Falcons. You know, they've had a really successful past few seasons. Coming to this season, starting off a little slow, looking to bounce back. And for the Orioles, you know, it's their first year in the league, and they're looking to get their first win on the season. So trying to make their own history to battle the Miller Lite Falcons. So it should be a good matchup, and I'm excited.
Certainly, and we'll touch more on the difference in history between these two teams later, but the Brienzo's Orioles, an expansion team to the Peoria Sunday Morning League, the oldest amateur baseball league in America. Exciting time. Always having new teams join, and again, Orioles still looking for their first win of the year at 0-5. They had some close games, but a win today against a very good Miller Lite Falcons squad could go a long way in boosting some confidence for some of these guys. Falcons are led by lots of experience. Guys like Clay McConkey, Tim Cundiff, Brian Quinn, some historic names all on that team. And it will be Clay McConkey on the mound for the Miller Lite Falcons as we get a look at the starting lineup for Brienzo's and the defensive alignment for Miller Lite. Teddy, if you want to take us through the Brienzo's starting nine.
For Brienzo's, Drew Brown at DH, Quentin McAllister at second base, Adam Williamson at center field, Anthony Campbell first base, Dalton Strode, Jock Mayland, Andrew Garrett, Mario Garcia, and Lane Reffert, ending it out. And for Miller Lite, Bo Durbin, Cam Scott, Mitch Ball, Luke Ketchum, Chase Ulrich, Noah Campbell, Brian Quinn, Colin Marmon, and Peyton Bradford.
Colin Marmon, that's the consequence of my poor handwriting there. Sorry about that,
John's
there, Teddy. My handwriting got in the way again, but yeah, it should be a great day for some baseball. Miller Lite, they're 1-3 so far on the year. Season's still pretty young, although we said it last year. And season does go by quickly, so about 20-ish or so games each side. So we're about a fifth or about 20 to 25% of the way through the season right now. But Falcons have had some close losses, looking to get back into it. They're coming off a 5-4 loss on a walk-off against the Firehouse Pizza Expos back a week ago. Brienzo's are coming off a 9-4 loss against the Move Smart Mariners. So one of these teams will end their losing streak, and first pitch to Drew Brown is fouled back.
For Miller Lite, this is definitely the guy you want on the mound to get back in that win column. He's 1-1 on the year, Clay McConkey, but one of the most historical pitchers in the league. Started off the season 0-1, but he's bounced back in his last, and he's their only win on the season has come through from his start, so definitely the guy you need.
McConkey, not just the best pitcher in the Sunday Morning League this year. What you're looking at, folks, right there on the mound is the best pitcher probably in Sunday Morning League history, as he shows it right there, striking out Drew Brown to start this game. McConkey, the all-time Sunday Morning League leader in Ks. He's got over 1,000, 1,117 to be exact, and the all-time leader in ERA, just 1.21. So Brienzo's, they have their work cut out for them today, and they'll be Quentin McAllister, the second baseman, getting set to hit now. First pitch was a ball. Scoreboard out in left field not working today, but we got it going on our scoreboard right there at the bottom of your screen. I want to shout out our other crew members helping make today's broadcast possible. Josh Messenger, our producer, Patrick Huber, our camera operator. It's pretty hot here so far at the East Side Center. Attempts today reach the 90s as McConkey deals a curveball. It's fouled off by McAllister. They'll make it a 1-2 count.
A nice little breeze, though. Cool it down a little bit. Remember last time we were here last Wednesday, it was very muggy with almost no breeze. And today a little bit better than that. Perfect conditions for baseball.
Good conditions for the pitchers. There's a little bit of a breeze blowing in from center field as McAllister fights it off again. McAllister have to a pretty good start for the Orioles. 4 for 12. He's got 3 RBIs and 2 stolen bases so far this year. And he takes a look at McConkey and resets. And McConkey stretches, deals, and McAllister chases for strike 3. So Clay McConkey does what you would expect out of Clay McConkey, 2 strikeouts to start the game.
Absolutely. That's exactly what they called on him to do here. 2 strikeouts right away. He's on a roll.
Brienzo's on the year. They've struck out 61 times. That's the most of all teams in the league, although they've played some of the most games, so that can factor into it as well as McConkey deals a ball in the dirt. Adam Williamson, center fielder for the Orioles, with 2 outs and nobody on.
For the Orioles, though, you got to give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt. Obviously, the organization's first year in the league, but for a lot of these players, not a lot of Sunday morning league experience, so they're jumping into it just like the organization. And you know, as farther along in the season you go, the more comfortable you feel.
Certainly, and you know, Teddy, the Sunday Morning League, obviously very historical league. Lots of guys, as that one ripped down the right field line and just fouled by inches. Could have been extra bases easily for Williamson. That one would have just been a couple inches more to the left. But these teams, especially teams like the Falcons, Teddy, bring back a lot of guys year after year. You start to kind of get used to other pitchers that you're facing, other guys in the league. As Williamson looks at a ball in the dirt, all these Orioles players, there's some that have played in the league before, but some that haven't, so there's still sort of that just getting acclimated factor to it as well, as the count is now run full. He could get out with a strike here, but Williamson laces this into deep center. On the run is Mitch Ball, makes the catch, and it's a 1-2-3, top of the third for Clay McConkey and the Falcons.
Yeah, it was a really good outing. Clay McConkey came out of the gates doing exactly what he has been known to do, adding 2 more strikeouts to that impressive record. But then you trust your outfielders. You got to give a shout out to Williamson there, getting the wood on the bat, but nearly 2 base hits in that. Just in that at bat, he got the one line out or the one liner that could have been extra bases, but all the same, good inning for them. But going into defense, trying to keep the score even at 0.
Going into the bottom of the first, Miller Lite will bat next up. But first, we want to thank our sponsors that make today's broadcast and all of our broadcasts possible. Body Armor, the official sports drink of the Peoria Sunday Morning League, for great hydration and just a refreshing drink before, during, after a game, or not. Maybe you're sitting on your couch, you just want a nice, flavorful, healthy drink. Body Armor is the way to go. And also by Miller Lite, part of Baumgarten Distributing here in Peoria. I want to thank them for being longtime sponsors of the Falcons of the Peoria Sunday Morning League, and also for the first time, Brienzo's Wood-Fired Pizza, sponsor of the expansion team, the Brienzo's Orioles. I want to thank Brienzo's great wood-fired pizza up there in Peoria Heights. Teddy, I don't know about you, I've been to Brienzo's a couple times before, and that is some very good pizza. I'm not getting paid to say that.
Brienzo's does have really, really good pizza. As for Miller Lite, I can't speak on that. I'm underage, but Brienzo's is very, very good. A lot of options.
A lot of options for sure at Brienzo's. I want to thank them for sponsoring the Orioles. Definitely give them a visit up in the Heights, as we showed it at the top of the broadcast, but we'll look real quick again at the Miller Lite Falcons lineup again. We'll just run it through you. It'll be Durbin, Scott, and Ball. 3 to lead it off, followed by Luke Ketchum batting cleanup, Chase Ulrich, Noah Campbell, and Brian Quinn, a Peoria Sunday Morning League legend at DH. And Colin Moorman and Peyton Bradford rounded out for the Falcons. Mix of experience and youth on this Falcons team. And here's part of the youth, and Bo Durbin, Miller Lite's leadoff batter, a graduate of Morton. Finish up his freshman year at ICC, and then next year he's going to Bradley.
Thank you. This is awesome.
As Durbin looks at a ball in the dirt. That one also low from the Orioles starting pitcher Jacob Campbell. Teddy, I know you're currently attend a Middle Illini school, just not too far from here in Pekin. Bo Durbin sure probably did some damage against the Dragons for the Morton Potters, a perennial power in the Middle Illini Conference.
Morton always really good at baseball. Metamora good at baseball. Pekin, they're getting there. New head coach this year. Hopefully get back to some of that, but yes, I'm sure he did a lot of damage.
Durbin grounds out there. Can't quite get as much damage as he would have hoped for, but still having a good season. And I'll bring up Cam Scott now, the Falcon, playing third base, and Donnie number 1. In case you haven't seen yet on the broadcast, the Miller Lite Falcons, they take a lot of inspiration from the Milwaukee Brewers with their uniforms. They shade of a mix between navy and royal blue. And I'd say classic Milwaukee Brewers gold. Some pretty nice looking unis, if I do say so myself.
Really all around the league we've seen some pretty cool jerseys. The Miller Lite ones really stand out. They're historic with the league as well, but even with this new expansion team, the Orioles jerseys looking pretty clean out there as well.
And part of the growing pains, it's obviously of an expansion team in an amateur baseball league, is the Brienzo's Orioles, the uniforms look pretty good as well. Not quite as maybe similar to the Baltimore Orioles as the Falcons are to the Brewers, but some nice looking black and orange uniforms. I personally am a big fan of that color combo, as Cam Scott strikes out on a pitch to the dirt, and Jacob Campbell is his first K of the night. But one thing I wanted to mention is Adam Williamson, who is the final batter for the Orioles playing center field, does not have a uniform. He's out in center field wearing a black t-shirt.
I haven't even noticed it. Whoa, you are right.
Nothing on the front and nothing on the back, so maybe Adam Williamson's jersey will come in sooner or later. Nice breaking pitch there from Campbell to Mitch Ball for strike 1.
I guess he really stands out there and I didn't even notice. Or maybe he doesn't. He blends in. But I will say these jerseys maybe a little bit darker of an orange than the regular MLB Orioles jerseys, but nonetheless, both of them super nice.
Ball swings and misses at strike 2. Another good pitch from Jacob Campbell, who doesn't have a record on the year, just 2 innings pitched and a even ERA of 7 coming into today's game. These first 2 outs, though, it's dipped slightly below that. As Ball gets a piece of it, fouls it back over onto the adjacent turf field. Looks like some high school age kids getting some practice work in at the next field here at the East Side Center, one of the premier athletic venues in Central Illinois. Here's Campbell with 2 strikes. A great pitch and freezes Mitch Ball. Chalked that up as a backwards K for the Brienzo's pitcher. And through 1, we're scoreless. Both pitchers getting 2 strikeouts. Pretty good start to this game.
Yeah, it was a great way to answer back there. And just in that first inning, we know we got a little bit of a pitcher's battle here. But both these teams definitely have the offense capability to run up that score a little bit. We'll see how that goes here in the second inning.
Sure thing. And as we get set to head into the second, we want to, again, thank our great sponsors, starting with Body Armor, the official sports drink of the Peoria Sunday Morning League, for great taste. Lots of different flavors as well, including just plain Body Armor water, too. Body Armor. Want to thank them for sponsoring the Sunday Morning League and the Peoria Sunday Morning League Game of the Week right here on Clutch Sports Media. And also by Baumgarten Distributing and Miller Lite for being longtime sponsors of the Falcons. And also by Brienzo's Wood-Fired Pizza up in Peoria Heights. Be sure to give them a visit in case you're craving some za, as the youngsters might say.
I don't think they say that.
Well, you never know. maybe some might, but one thing that the Falcons we mentioned earlier, they have some youth on that team, but also a very historic team as well. The Miller Lite brand has been intact since 1965 for the Sunday Morning League team. First, it started out as Miller Beer, and then they've gone through different name variations, but regardless, it's been around since 1965. The longest time sponsor. That one is shot by Anthony Campbell. That's going to be an infield single for the Orioles. As you saw there, Miller Lite chasing their 4th straight league title. So since we entered the 2020s, it's been all Miller Lite in the Sunday Morning League, but Anthony Campbell takes a small chip away at that with the Orioles' first base runner to the contest. That'll bring up Dalton Strode, the Brienzo's third baseman.
Dalton Strode 6 for 18 in his at-bats so far this season. That ball pretty high up there, called ball, but really been crucial for them. He's consistently one of the best hitters on the team so far this season.
Really has been, and he's had a busy week in terms of being on the diamond. He was just earlier this week was on the field over at Dozer Park for the McDonald's All-Star game. He's a 1A All-State selection. Graduated of Bushnell Prairie City High School, a little bit not too far from Macomb.
I believe those games were yesterday.
I believe they were indeed. I was actually happened to drive right past Dozer Park, right along there on Jefferson Street, I want to say, as McConkey freezes the youngster Strode with a off-speed pitch, and Clay McConkey has struck out 3 of his first 5 batters, and now with Campbell on first, they'll bring up Jack Moyland. Jack Moyland so far in the year, 1 for 6 with an RBI and a run scored. He is a Peoria High Lion. Campbell takes his lead and he is going. Late break, but he's going to slide in there safely. The Falcons catcher Colin Mormon didn't quite realize it quickly enough. Anthony Campbell slides in with a stolen bag. Now a runner in scoring position for Moylan and the Orioles. Again, looking for their first win in this young Sunday Morning League season.
Both of these teams trying to get out of a little bit of a rough patch, but as we mentioned before, one with a lot of history and one just starting to make theirs. As for the Miller Lite Falcons, though, last season they were in a very similar situation. Started off really cold and turned it around and won their 3rd straight championship. So anything is possible of happening.
For sure, the team, if I'm not mistaken, was I think 4-5 around the mid-season part of the year, and then they won 12 of their next 14 and defeated the Cruisins Reds in the Sunday Morning League Championship. Boy, the Reds are off to a hot start this year, 6-0. As McConkey deals to Andrew Garrett, the Orioles shortstop. McConkey really firing it in there today. These Orioles batters just a bit behind on seemingly every pitch.
Yeah, John, as you mentioned, the Reds off to a super hot start, looking to hit deep right field.
Down the line, that one in fair territory is just barely caught by Peyton Bradford, the Falcons right fielder, and that will do things for the top of the 2nd inning. Orioles get their first base runner on an Anthony Campbell single. He steals second, but ultimately McConkey gets 2 strikeouts and a flyout to end the inning. Same way as he did the first. 2 strikeouts and a flyout. And as we head along to the bottom of the second, we want to thank our great sponsors that make tonight's broadcast possible. Body Armor, the official sports drink of the Peoria Sunday Morning League. A great taste and refreshing and great hydration. What I wanted to say. Oh man, tripped up there like there was a string in front of me that I didn't see. But I want to thank Body Armor for being the official sports drink of the Sunday Morning League. Definitely want to get it next time you're at the grocery store. Could use it in these dog days of summer. And also by Miller Lite and Baumgarten Distributing, longtime sponsors of Falcons of the Sunday Morning League. Great taste, less filling beer. Drink Miller Lite. And also by Brienzo's Wood-Fired Pizza up in Peoria Heights, Illinois. Maybe if you want a pizza to go with your Miller Lite, head on up to Brienzo's in Peoria Heights.
Give a little shout out to Gavin Russell and his Body Armor water he advocates for as well.
That was a topic of great debate on the Sunday Morning League Game of the Week last week between Tin Lizard Titans and the Poor Bros Jacks. We spent about half an inning talking about Body Armor water and flavored water, Propel, all that sort of stuff. I currently am drinking just a regular bottled water, just grocery store brand, Members Mark purified water. So it's fueling me right now.
I will say on that broadcast, I said that flavored water leaves a weird texture in my mouth, and everybody clowned me for it. And then later on in the night, John texted me and said that he sort of understood what I was talking about, so I'm not crazy.
Well, what I was referring to was you said that it had a weird texture, and I was like, well, liquid doesn't have texture. But then I remembered a couple weeks ago, I was actually, my girlfriend and I were drinking hot chocolate, and there's the mix that you put in the hot chocolate that made it taste had the slightest chalky hint of texture. And I noticed it when I was drinking. I'm like, I thought to myself, like, this drink has a little bit of a weird texture to it. And ultimately, I came back around. I think I like to want to come out and say that some liquids can have some texture to them, as Luke Ketchum fouls one back to get things started for the Falcons.
That's character development at its finest.
Back to the action here, and number 99, Luke Ketchum, and he gets plunked by a pitch down there in the ankle or foot area. So Miller Lite starts the second with a base runner, just like their opponents do, and Ketchum is aboard, getting on the hard way. So now nobody out, and Chase Ulrich gets set to hit for the Falcons. Ulrich batting fifth and playing first base.
Ulrich 2 for 7 on the year. Okay start to the season, but definitely looking to up those numbers.
Now it is rocketed right behind us, and Ulrich is right on top of that. He's a little frustrated with that one there. Just maybe a couple milliseconds earlier, that ball would have been torched into the outfield. Ketchum takes his lead at first, hands on the knees. He's not going. That one low and away from Jacob Campbell, who's got 2 strikeouts already to his name, in case you're just tuning in. Miller Lite, we mentioned they're off to a little bit of a slower start than maybe some would have expected this year, and it's mostly been there just trying to push more runs across the board, get some more hits on the year, as that one is fouled straight back up. As a team, Falcons are batting under the Mendoza line at 198 and scored just 11 runs on the year. So if Miller Lite can get the bats going, their pitching is certainly well taken care of with Clay McConkey and David Ellis and others, but really got to get the bats going. That's the mantra for the Falcons right now. And he chops this one to short. This one could be 2. And Garrett fires over to McAllister, over to Campbell. I admittedly looked down. Looks like
Dropped it a second.
they dropped it at second base, as Pardon me, I was watching the action and a view is slightly obscured, so now we have
Safe first.
it's a fielder's choice. They got the out at second, and the lead runner, Luke Ketchum-Ulrich, however, is safe at first, so I'll keep it 1 on, 1 out for another Campbell on the diamond tonight, Noah Campbell.
As you mentioned before, though, the struggles of the Miller Lite Falcons. As for the Orioles, it's kind of been the opposite. They've been able to put some runs on board with games having 7 runs, 8 runs, 4 runs. And it's really just been pitching that has struggled with them so far this season. But early on, 2 strikeouts through first 2 innings. And here in the middle of the second. But
Campbell sees the high heat from Campbell. I really did not think about that when there was Jacob Campbell on the mound, Noah Campbell batting. We don't know if these two are related, but there are some other Campbells on Brienzo's that we know are related. Orioles have a little bit of a family connection going on. They're managed by Tim Campbell, a Sunday Morning League legend in his own right, and his 2 sons, Jacob Campbell, who's pitching, and Anthony Campbell, who's playing first today on the team. As that one came right back at us. We ought to be thankful for this metal wire backstop. We know for you viewing at home, obviously, it could be seems maybe a little bothersome trying to a little bit slightly obstructed view of the field, but if it wasn't for it, we might be getting a foul ball coming right in the kisser. 2-2. Now to Noah Campbell. That one taken high, so that will make the count full. Brian Quinn on deck for the Miller Lite Falcons.
back to what you mentioned, John, about the family side on the Orioles. We've seen a lot of that here in the Sunday Morning League as draws a walk there. But we've seen a lot of that, especially last game against Poor Bros and the 10 Lizard Titans. A lot of family members on those teams as well. It's just a league-wide occurrence.
Certainly, and usually if as they say, sometimes obviously athleticism can just run in a family, and especially in baseball, if a dad tends to be good at baseball, usually their son, if they play for a while, exposed to the game at a young age, usually turns out to be pretty good themselves, and that's certainly evident here in the PSML as Brian Quinn gets set to hit. Quinn donning number 23, and is there another athlete that donned number 23? I don't know if I want to say Brian Quinn is the Michael Jordan in the Sunday Morning League, but you could make the case he's been playing since 1993, sixth in the league in career hits and second in doubles, all-time in the league. So Brian Quinn, one of the older players on this Falcons team, he's that experienced part that we were talking about earlier, still getting it done. He's got two runners on. Ulrich at second, Campbell at first, and he pops this one in foul territory. And Jake Strode, is over to make the catch for out number 2. So now 2 down and 2 outs. Campbell trying to put out a fire. He's got to retire Colin Moorman first.
On Colin Moorman, 2 for 5 on the year with 2 runs and 2 RBIs. Got a good eye so far this season.
Moorman, a graduate of University of Wisconsin-Platteville in the southwestern portion of the state. D3 school that plays in the Wisconsin Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. That one low and away from Jacob Campbell.
It's one positive about watching the Sunday Morning League. There's guys from all over, from lower division college schools, guys getting drafted, and even some guys coming out of high school. Just the variety and guys that have been playing since 1993. Just the variety of different players in the league, all with great talents and abilities. Some fun to watch.
It really is just the melting pot of baseball. Sunday morning league is. You got players from near and far. Some maybe just grew up, maybe just mere minutes here from the East Side Center where we're at right now, and some of them may have grown up far across the country, went to a school maybe around the Midwest and are playing here. Then you got guys as young as 16, 17 years old, and you got guys in their 40s that are still playing. As Mormon displays a good eye that we just mentioned, that will load the sacks up for the Falcons with their number 9 hitter, Peyton Bradford. This is the biggest threat that Miller Lite has had so far early in this game. This is Bradford's first time up so far on the year. Bradford is 1 for 6 and has just 1 RBI, but a chance to double, triple, or even quadruple that here. If he were to quadruple it with a grand slam, that would be Miller Lite's first home run of the season. In fact, neither one of these teams has hit a home run so far this year. That one is fisted into short right field. That one might get down. A diving grab, but he can't make the catch. 1 run's going to score. That's going to be 2. Bradford digging for second, and he slides safely in there. The throw beat him, but Bradford evaded the tag. That'll go down as a 2-run double, and the Falcons draw first blood.
Looks like McAustin was the one that went out there and was able to make the play. The bobble out there in the outfield, and 2 guys chasing for the ball, but great play for Miller Lite, able to take the lead early. Pitch a little bit outside.
Falcons will certainly take that. They get on the board with a quick pair, a fantastic effort. We got to give some kudos to Quentin McAllister. He covered a lot of ground trying to chase that ball down near the foul line. It was sort of in no man's land. Didn't know if the first baseman Campbell, the second baseman McAllister, or the right fielder Lane Reffert, who was going to come up with that, but McAllister had the momentum, full extension, nearly came up with that. Probably would have been one of the defensive plays of the year. Campbell deals one high and in, back to the top of the lineup in Bo Durbin. We saw a great flash of leather last week in foul territory as Bo Durbin will draw the walk. I forget exactly who it was. It's Brady Becklin for Tin Lizard, who made that catch while doing the splits. Obviously it wasn't intentional, but that's just the way it happened, the way he had to make the play, and ultimately came away with it over in foul territory. And now with the bases loaded again, and Cam Scott, the reigning league MVP, due up, Brienzo's one that talks things over.
Going back to that catch, we saw a lot of crazy plays last game. Another one was one that was hit out to the foul side of the third base side on the foul line, and it was a lifesaver for the Tin Lizard manager. Can't remember his name, but he was holding his head, trying not to get hit by the ball, and a poor pros third baseman came in and snagged it, saved his life. It was very inspiring.
Let's see if Cam Scott can be inspired by his teammate Bradford to add on to the Falcons' RBI total here in the top of the second. First pitch swinging, hits it far into the outfield. Will it get down? It's back at the wall. It's going to fall. That's going to be extra bases. And it's going to be a stand-up double for Cam Scott. It's going to clear the bases. Falcons up 5-0 now. They're starting to put up a crooked number here in the second.
Valiant effort out there in center field. Both guys weren't able to make it, but fielded it clean, did what they could with it. Really, that one had potential of going out. I thought it was going out, but another mound visit for the Orioles.
Adam Williamson almost made the play out in center field, battling the sun. Just couldn't quite make the grab, fell to the ground. But thankfully their left fielder Garcia was there for the backup, but not before the Falcons plated all 3 base runners. So we have a pitching change now for the Orioles. And folks, I wish I could tell you who exactly this is, but we don't exactly know for sure because the Orioles don't have a full roster listed with all of their player numbers. They have all of the players, but not their numbers. And number 46, who is pitching now for Brienzo, we do not know who that is. Not a 48 rather, listed on their roster. So, but we will say it is one of these following players. It is either Cannon Kelly, Adam Williamson. Well, Adam Williamson is in center field, so we know it's not him. Cole Thomas, Wes Frame, Aiden Nemeth, or Jaden Rivera. Cannon Kelly is not listed with the number, so it could be him. We know it's not Jacob Campbell, and we know it's not Adam Williamson, so we're going to play a process of elimination here. Cole Thomas is also not listed with a number, so it could also be him. Wes Frame is number 13, as we know it's not him. Aiden Nemeth does not have a number, and neither does Jaden Rivera. So it's either Cannon Kelly, Wes Frame, or it's either Cannon Kelly, Cole Thomas, Aiden Nemeth, or Jaden Rivera. Out there on the mound for Brienzo. We'll try and nail down who that is sooner or later.
I say we just call out every single name you mentioned after every pitch, just to be sure that you don't miss it.
We'll call him the Brienzo's pitcher as he fires in a nice strike there to Mitch Ball, who struck out looking his first time up. If ball reaches base, Falcons would bat around here in the bottom of the second. Scored all 5 of their runs here in the frame. Miller Lite already just 1 run short of tying their season high of 6, which they scored against this very team, the Brienzo's Orioles, earlier in the year. That one fouled back.
In the last outing, Miller Lite beat the Brienzo's Orioles 6-2. So, as you mentioned, that was their season high. But you get to play a team once, get to see them a little bit, go back and do exactly what you did before, at least so far. Definitely showing that experience so far in this game compared to the inexperience of the Orioles.
I keep taking 2 inch black.
And a breaking ball there is fouled off by Ball. That'll make it a full count. Cam Scott at second base. The reigning league MVP hit .390 last year with 14 RBIs. And also was 6-1 on the mound with a 1.02 ERA and 65 strikeouts. So if you want to know who the Miller Lite Falcons equivalent to Shohei Ohtani is, it's Cam Scott.
You could say that the MLB's equivalent to Cam Scott is Shohei Ohtani.
You could say that too. Put some respect on Cam Scott's name. He's early contender for player of the game, but got lots of baseball left to play.
6-1 record with a 1.02 ERA is nothing to slouch at. That is insane.
And breaking pitch is hit down the right field line. Will this ball be fair? Foul ball, just barely. From our angle, it looked to be right on the line, but we're at a little bit of an angle. Home plate umpire's got the best look at it, so. That one didn't miss by much, though.
Miller Lite definitely showing off their power in this inning. 2 balls rocketed all the way out there. One of them nearly over the wall, but just short.
So we'll do the full count again. Pitcher eyes Scott. Another breaking pitch is hit well into left field. That one is back. It is going. It is caught by Mario Garcia out there in left field. So Ted, you said it, Miller Lite flexing their muscles in the bottom of the second. 2 near home runs But some big hits either way, a 2-run double from Bradford and a bases clearing double from Cam Scott. The Falcons take a 5-zip lead as we move on into the third inning.
And John, they're able to keep it in the park, but just barely enough to get out of the inning there. Great inning by the Falcons is exactly what you needed. And that first inning, super slow pitching battle, and now it's all up to Clay McConkley and the rest of their defense.
Clay McConkley got a pretty nice rest in the dugout, and maybe while he was in there, maybe he might have been drinking some Body Armor. You never know, the official sports drink of the Peoria Sunday Morning League. I want to thank them for sponsoring the oldest amateur baseball league in America and making this broadcast possible. And also by Miller Lite and Baumgarten Distributing. I thank them for being sponsors of the Falcons, and by Brienzo's Wood-Fired Pizza up in Peoria Heights. I want to thank them for sponsoring the Orioles. Great pizza up at Brienzo's. So we get set here in the top of the third inning. Clay McConkley back out there again for the Falcons. He's given up just one hit and has 4 strikeouts. So far this year, he leads the league in strikeouts with, well, now he's up to 34. He came into the game with 30 in 16 2/3 innings. So he's averaging nearly 2 strikeouts per inning, which is pretty insane numbers. But the performance he's having tonight, he may be at 2 strikeouts per inning by the time we're all said and done.
He's been crucial for this team, but you'd think, once someone reaches 1,000 strikeouts, the first player to 1,000 strikeouts in league history, it'd be towards the later half of their career, but he has shown no signs of slowing down. He's actually might be at the best point of his career so far. He's having a great season.
He's in his prime, yeah, for sure. And, McConkley obviously is the all-time leader in strikeouts. It's nothing to sneeze at, because this league is going on its 108th year. So that's a pretty good milestone for Clay McConkley, the all-time leader in strikeouts in the 100 over a century at this Sunday Morning League has been around. This one grunted by Mario Garcia. Close play at first, and he beat it out. Mario Garcia firing down the first base line, and his hustle pays off, and the Orioles have a leadoff man here in the top of the third.
Shows that their speed kills.
Mario Garcia was flying down there. Brienzo's dugout is loving that. And that will bring up Lane Reffert now, the number 9 hitter for the Orioles. Pops it up. Can of corn for Cam Scott over at third base. So that'll back to the top of the order now. And Drew Brown, the designated hitter for the Orioles. He struck out swinging his first time up. Brown was quiet the first time that these two teams met. And that 6-2 win, Brienzo's way, were plagued by 16 strikeouts in the batter's box and 4 errors in the field. I would have called strike on that pitch from McConkley. Garcia's getting a pretty good lead over at first, so got to keep an eye on him. He may be going.
Especially with the speed he showed on that single. Definitely bring it up.
And the Falcons catcher, Colin Mormon, has an eagle eye on Garcia right now. Maybe the eye of a falcon, the eye of a vulture, eagle eye. So many different ways you can say it. And he's going to throw it out a second. Garcia dives in there, throw bounced in. And Mario Garcia is safe into second base. So Orioles being aggressive on the base pass. That's their second one here of the game so far.
I will say Eye of a Falcon is pretty fitting, John. Miller Lite Falcons. Give you your credit.
Round swings and misses there. McConkey could get his 5th strikeout, and he does. Another one swinging, and it's the second time Drew Brown has been retired via the whiff. So now 2 outs and a runner in scoring position for Quentin McAllister of the Orioles. McAllister struck out his first time up, has a couple of RBIs to his name, fouls that one off to the right side. Glad you're with us here on the Clutch Sports Media Sunday Morning League Game of the Week. Whether you're watching on our website or our YouTube channel, want to thank you for spending your Wednesday evening with us. We'll be here at Eastside Center all the way up until July 26th. I should say every Wednesday until July 26th.
I sure hope I was able to go home, John. I was a little worried there.
No, we are we're living, we are sleeping, we are eating everything at the Eastside Center all summer long, Teddy. Drinking Body Armor, having a great time.
Eating Brienzo's pizza.
Maybe drinking some Miller Lite for those that are of age, which is currently just me on the staff. McAllister fouls off another one, another 2-strike count. McConkey's done a nice job of finishing off the counts. There's been 2 strikes. This one popped into short center. And Ball makes the catch out there, and that'll do it in the top of the 3rd for the Orioles. So they put another man on base, a leadoff single, and a stolen base, just like they did back in the 2nd, but no runs prosper of it. Miller Lite still pitching a shutout through 3. They lead 5-0 as we move on here into the bottom of the 3rd here on Clutch Sports Media. I want to thank our great sponsors, starting with Body Armor, the official sports drink of the Sunday Morning League. I want to thank them for being along for the ride. For all your sports drink needs, always choose Body Armor and Baumgarten Distributing, which we can get Miller Lite and other similar products from. I want to thank them for their support, as well as Brienzo's Wood-Fired Pizza up in Peoria Heights. I certainly want to patronize them next chance that you get. Some good pizza over there, and that being wood-fired, I gotta say, it makes a difference.
It does. Like I mentioned earlier, I said the options that they have. Me personally, I'm not, but if you are, I know this firsthand, if you are gluten-free or dairy-free, Brienzo's has options for that as well.
That's good to know.
Apparently they make they don't just make them gluten-free and dairy-free, they're apparently really good. I wouldn't know, that sounds disgusting, but I'm sure they do a great job.
We'll have to talk with Larry Larson, a gluten-free member of our crew, to see how it tastes. Maybe we'll have him sample it sometime. As we get going here in the bottom of the 3rd, Luke Ketchum, Falcons cleanup batter, gets set to hit. Teddy, I feel like we've been talking a lot about food and drink on our broadcast quite a bit, and certainly, I guess the reason for that is a lot of our sponsors are in the food and drink business. We got the Tin Lizard Titan, sponsored by Tin Lizard Bar and Grill inside Paradise Hotel and Casino in East Peoria. As Ketchum rips that one up the middle. That one grabbed by Garrett, fired over to first, and a nice play. That'll be 1 down in the bottom of the 3rd, and that'll bring up Chase Ulrich. We also have the Cruisin's Reds, also a great place you can eat and drink at. You also Firehouse Pizza and Pub, another good restaurant. So really the only sponsors that don't believe are in the food and drink business are the Coles Diamond Gallery Royals. Certainly hope you're not trying to eat a diamond. That I don't think would go down very well. And the Move Smart Mariners. So I I guess maybe if you're a seafood lover, maybe the Mariners are your team. But
John, maybe we just need to have a pre-broadcast meal so we're not so hungry on the broadcast as well.
we should. I had a pre-broadcast meal in my car before we got set up. I had some KFC.
There you go. Not diamonds.
As Chase Ulrich looks at a ball outside. Ulrich guarded into a fielder's choice his last time up. Almost was a double play, and that really could have helped Brienzo's back in that last inning. That one flown out into center field. Williamson has a pretty good eye on it and makes the grab. Too quickly down here in the bottom of the third, but Teddy, going back to that inning, if they were able to get that double play, they would have had 2 on and nobody out. Look at the score here. All those runs came with 1 out rather than 2. It shows you the importance of good fielding. Noah Campbell now in the batter's box, the righty shortstop for the Falcons. Campbell just wrapped up his redshirt freshman year at the University of Illinois Springfield, the Prairie Stars. Campbell still looking for his first hit of the year. I'll have to wait just a little bit longer. He strikes out to end the bottom of the third. So a 1-2-3 inning for the Orioles pitcher, who still haven't got a name on yet, but we'll try and identify him as soon as possible. But regardless, whoever it is, a good inning from them.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier, as we just go through all the candidates, mention them, but
looks like we're a good Samaritan of a fan is getting us the name of the Brienzo's pitcher, and it's Cannon Kelly. He was the first guy that he was the most likely player that we figured who that might be. That was at the top of our list. Turns out it is Kelly, so
well, now we know.
Now we do know. Cannon Kelly, 1-2-3 in the bottom of the third for the Orioles. I want to thank that nice fan that helped us out there. Yeah, it's our first time seeing the Orioles this year, first time seeing the Falcons as well. And real quick, we want to thank our great sponsors for this evening's broadcast, starting with Body Armor, the official sports drink of the Sunday Morning League. They're proud to sponsor the oldest amateur baseball league in America for a great, refreshing, and hydrating sports drink before, during, or after the game. It's Body Armor. And also by Miller Lite, part of Baumgarten Distributing. And also by Brienzo's Wood-Fired Pizza up in Peoria Heights. Moving into the top of the fourth. Brienzo's no runs on 2 hits. Haven't committed an error yet. Miller Lite has 5 runs. Also on just 2 hits. They drew 3 walks back in that second inning. And they also have not committed an error. As Adam Williamson, the jerseyless Adam Williamson, I should add, is set to hit. Watches a breaking pitch in there for strike 2.
Going back to that, what you said about the utilizing the walks, we've seen that in the past, especially last week. The Poor Bros Jacks, they were able to utilize getting walked a lot to help their offense throughout the game. Just giving what the defense gives you, or the pitcher gives you, but making the best out of it.
As McConkey deals a absolute sinker of a breaking ball there. That dropped third, and Mormon fires down to Ulrich at first to complete the out. So that one is number 6 for Clay McConkey here this evening. Again, McConkey over 1,000 strikeouts in his career, so he just keeps adding to it. See if he can do so against Anthony Campbell, who singled his first time up. Anthony Campbell, a graduate of Princeton High School, about an hour and 20 minutes north of the Metro Peoria area. He's the son of Brienzo's manager, Tim Campbell.
He's 2 for 12 on the year this year, but as you know, last year he had that ability in the limited time he did play. He batted .348 in those games.
Campbell looking to spark something for Brienzo's here in the fourth against the arguably the best Sunday morning league pitcher of all time. Can't be an easy task, but I think if you're Brienzo's, Teddy, I think my recommendation would just be, try and be patient and have a good eye. You mentioned those walks, but Campbell rips another single right in between the left side, and that's his second base hit of the evening. So Campbell's done his job, and now they'll bring up Dalton Strode. What I was going to say, though, Teddy, was be patient, draw those walks. Because one thing I've noticed in our first season broadcast in the Sunday Morning League is there's lots of great pitchers, and strikeouts are very common in this league. Clay McConkey, obviously one of the kings of them, with breaking pitches like that. So anytime you can draw a walk, take advantage of a pitcher mistake, really goes a long way.
Absolutely.
Here's Dalton Strode. That one gets down. They're going to play it second, though, because Campbell wasn't quite sure what to do there. He thought that ball may be caught, but a little bit of an awkward hit there, a pop fly that got down, and Bo Durbin was able to recover and fire it over to Noah Campbell for out number 2. So we chalk that up as FC 4-6.
Well, play there by Durbin, though. Leaping throw, jump, spun, right to the second baseman. Force out.
Plays like that certainly helped him get to the Division I level. He'll be staying local with the Bradley Braves. This one popped up by Jack Moylan. Will it stay in play? Right by the Brienzo's dugout. Ulrich makes the grab. And the Orioles got a front row seat to that catch. Nice grab there from Moylan. I almost wonder if he was going to climb the railing and do one of those catches where he makes the grab and his momentum carries him over into the dugout. He stays on 2 feet. And that will extinguish the Orioles' threat in the top of the fourth. As we get set to move on to the bottom half of the frame, again, want to give a shout out to all 3 of our sponsors for tonight's game. Body Armor, the official sports drink of the Peoria Sunday Morning League, for hydration and just a refreshing taste. A little bit of an alternative to Gatorade. Give Body Armor a try, the official sports drink of the Sunday Morning League. I want to thank them for helping make tonight's broadcast possible. And also by Miller Lite and Baumgarten Distributing, one of the longest, actually the longest tenured sponsor of the Peoria Sunday Morning League. I want to thank them for their loyal support of Peoria area amateur baseball. And also by Brienzo's Wood-Fired Pizza, entering the fray here in the Sunday Morning League this year, sponsoring the Orioles. I want to thank them for their support as well. And while we're talking about the Orioles, they're the new birds on the block. As we mentioned earlier, an expansion team in the Sunday Morning League this year. And this is the first time that we've gotten a new franchise in the PSML since the Tin Lizard Titans back in 2020. So every couple of years it seems to be a new franchise or a new sponsor. This is a completely new franchise. So this team didn't switch names. This 8th team is completely new to the Sunday Morning League. It's going to be fun watching to see what the Orioles can do in their first year. Still looking for their first win right now at 0-5. But you never know.
I will say, John, we've seen some teams in other leagues, like in recent years, have success super early on and still early in the season, so the Orioles are able to get some more wins throughout the season and become successful. But, for example, the Seattle Kraken of the NHL,
yeah,
one of the newest teams in the NHL. And
Vegas Golden Knights did pretty good in their first year in the league.
So that's hockey, for example. There's some in some other sports as well. They adapt pretty quickly.
Remember the Colorado Rockies weren't too bad back when they debuted back in the 1990s? as Brian Quinn, the Sunday Morning League veteran, gets set to hit for his second plate appearance. He popped out to the third baseman his first time up. And even though the Orioles are 0-5 right now, baseball is a game of just getting hot at the right time. You can make the case of that for any sport, but especially in Peoria. We saw that this year as Quinn pops up in foul territory. Will it be in play? It is. A great catch right along the railing there by Dalton Strode. And that'll be Quinn's second pop out to Strode today. One down in the top of the fourth. Back to my previous point, we've seen it in the Peoria area this year. Teams get hot at the right time after maybe not the best regular season. The Richwoods Knights, what a run they had in the playoffs after going 6-23 in the regular season, of advancing all the way to the sectional title game.
Absolutely. That story was crazy to watch. I was rooting for them every round of the playoffs, hoping they'd go just a little bit farther. But nonetheless, congratulations to them. But like you mentioned, getting a hot start, that one fielded in. Getting a hot start, or even just getting hot at any point in the season can be crucial, especially in a shortened season
Certainly.
Like the Peoria Sunday Morning League. So any win is so crucial.
And these teams play about 21 games in their season. You got 8 teams, so you have 7 opponents. You play each of them 3 times. In fact, both of these teams are going to wrap up their season series later tonight. This is just game 1 of a doubleheader here at the Eastside Center. Although we're just broadcasting this first game. If you want to watch the second game, you have to come out to the ballpark. But these teams faced off earlier this year on May 31st. That was Miller Lite's first and only win so far of the year. Peyton Bradford, they got the first runs on the board for the Falcons, and a 2-run double back in the bottom of the second. Fouls that one back off the top of the press box, which we have since migrated from since our first week. We're down a little bit closer to the action now. A little bit of a better unobstructed view. Gotta say this, I do love being close to the field. You just hear the crack of the bat a little bit more. You can hear the umpire. You can hear the dugout chatter. You're also outside, which can be a good or a bad thing depending on how hot it is.
We've gotten pretty lucky with the weather in these games, though, so far. Last week it was really nice as well, and today it's looking really nice. Cooling off a little bit. It was pretty hot earlier, but not too bad right now.
That one chopped foul, so it'll be 2-2 to Bradford. Bo Durbin on deck for the Falcons. Coming up after this doubleheader for these teams, Miller Lite, they can stay hot. They have another doubleheader against the Poor Bros Jacks coming up a week from now. That'll be at the Eastside Turf Field. So that'll be just across the way from us. And a nice infield single there for Bradford. Just a base hit in no man's land that McAllister just couldn't quite get to. So a potential start of a 2-out rally is back to the top of the lineup for the Falcons and Bo Durbin.
Definitely one of the guys you went up there in a situation like this. He was crucial for ICC last year, batting .370 on 52 runs and 6 homers. Definitely been a big part of this Miller Lite offense as well.
Bo Durbin just did just a little bit of everything. He hit for average, he hit for power, had some speed. And those 21 doubles and those 52 runs, those maybe aren't the most attractive stats, maybe not the first ones you look at, but getting on those doubles and scoring runs will really help your team. And also, singles like that will as well. Bradford was going. He slides into third. Durbin goes to second. Good heads-up base running. And Bo Durbin, I think he'll be credited with the single there and advance to second on the throw. But it functions the same as a double. So now the Falcons are back in business.
Yeah, it looks like the left fielder kind of trotted up that ball. Wasn't expecting the run to third, but he does nonetheless, and gets there pretty safely, but very base running. Up 2 in scoring position.
And it's Cam Scott, who's already got 3 RBIs today, to bat now against Cannon Kelly. The Orioles pitcher just looking to get out of this jam. Hasn't allowed a run. Retired his first 2 in the inning, but now encounters a little bit of trouble.
I give credit to Cam Scott. A little rougher start to the season at 1-8 ahead of this game, but still the 2022 league MVP. You got to put some respect on him, and he's having a great game.
Had his first RBIs of the season with that double. That one is popped up in the infield. This should do it. Garrett, the shortstop, looking for it and has it. And Kelly and the Orioles can breathe a deep sigh of relief as the Falcons strand 2 runners in scoring position. We're moving on into the top of the 5th inning, with the Falcons leading 5-0. Clay McConkey doing some good work on the mound for the Falcons. But before we see him again, I want to thank our sponsors that make tonight's broadcast possible, starting with Body Armor, the official sports drink of the Peoria Sunday Morning League. Body Armor comes in a variety of good flavors. Again, a great refreshing sports drink, whether you're trying to get ready for action or during the action or looking to wind down after a hot day. Body Armor is the way to go. And also by Baumgarten Distributing and Miller Lite. The Miller brand has been attached to the Falcons since 1965 here in the Sunday Morning League. A couple of decades they've been around. Good taste, refreshing, and less filling beer. Miller Lite is your choice. And also Brienzo's wood-fired pizza for craving some great pizza, and also has lots of variety as well. Go up to Brienzo's for some great food, great drinks. And up in the lively Peoria Heights area, I thank them for sponsoring the Orioles, who will be led off by Andrew Garrett, the number 7 batter and the shortstop.
Andrew Garrett 2 for 6 on the year. Pretty solid numbers, but always looking to improve them. Ball rocketed into the right field.
Is that one well to right, but tailed foul. If he was a golfer, that would be categorized as a big slice. So my drive looks like sometimes, except I'm a left-hander, so my slice goes right to left. And he squares to bunt. That one strikes, so Garrett quickly in the hole.
And John, as someone newly introduced to the Peoria Sunday Morning League, you just mentioned the Miller Lite brand being attached to the Falcons. Little question on that. How does that work? Is it the name of the team that is set in stone and then a sponsor comes to support it, or is it the sponsor that gets to pick the name?
That's a great question, I believe, and I would say the man asked for that question actually happens to be on the Miller Lite Falcons, Tim Cundiff, actually the Peoria Sunday Morning League president. He joined us in the booth 2 weeks ago, actually, for our very first broadcast of the Sunday Morning League. He's not in the lineup, at least here in this first game. Maybe could enter later, but I would love to know that question, or the answer to that question, rather.
Definitely the guy to ask.
Certainly, I would guess, and this is just nothing more than a guess, is that they pick the team name and then a sponsor. But on the other end, it also could be you have the sponsor first, then you pick out the nickname, because Brienzo's, they have a little bit of a hint of orange in their logo. So maybe once they found out that all right, we're dealing with a team that's black and orange, and maybe thought, oh, Orioles right there, just like the Baltimore Orioles. So I don't know. It could go either way, honestly.
I feel like it could be a little bit easy on jersey design if it was already set in stone. But to be fair, the Poor Bros Jacks jersey has their name all across it. So it's a question we still have. I'll have to answer it next week.
Yeah, the Jacks, their jerseys look like the old school Philadelphia Phillies jerseys. That one lifted out of play by Mario Garcia. Singled and stole second his first time up. You also got the Firehouse Pizza and Pub Expos. They look like the old retro Montreal Expos jerseys, that powder blue and red. Miller Lite, obviously they're Brewers type jerseys. I haven't seen the Kohl's Diamond Gallery Royals jerseys yet, but I assume that those look somewhat like the Kansas City Royals jerseys. Same thing with the Moose Smart Mariners and their Major League counterparts. I believe Moose Smart, though, I think they go back to their retro Mariners jerseys, which are not aquamarine and silver, but rather navy blue and gold. That one popped up again by Garcia, doing a nice job of staying alive this at-bat. 5 straight foul balls that he's had.
Really having a battle here with McConkey, who hasn't really seen that much of a test so far this game, but he's getting one now.
McConkey started hot with 4 strikeouts in his first 6 batters. That one is also fouled off, so make that foul ball number 6. Garcia doing a great job of staying alive against one of the best pitchers in Sunday Morning League history. We don't have official pitch count numbers, but regardless, it's getting up there, and he chops a spinner to the shortstop. Nice play by Campbell over at short to retire Garcia, who almost had his second infield hit of the game.
What a play there by Ulrich as well, really extending to grab that ball. Shows some athleticism at the first base position.
Now with 2 down, that'll bring up Lane Reffert, the right fielder for the Orioles. He's a graduate of A-Town High School, formerly known as Abingdon Avon. May still go as Abingdon Avon, but I know that recently, at least their sports teams, they want to be referred to as A-Town, the Tornadoes. Reffert looks at a strike. That one, a big breaking pitch just a bit inside, will even the count. Count now 1-2. Orioles looking to spark a 2-out rally. They need to get some runs on the board sooner or later. And McConkey deals another strike there to Reffert. Wind blowing slightly in from center, and Reffert swings and misses at strike 3. That'll be strikeout number 7 for Clay McConkey, who has retired his last 5 batters, and he is rolling as he seems to have always have in the Sunday Morning League. We're through 4.5. The Miller Lite Falcons still hanging on to a 5-0 lead, looking to take the season series and clinch that with a win here this evening. As we move on to the bottom part of the frame, we want to thank our sponsors, starting with Body Armor Sports Drink, the official sports drink of this Peoria Sunday Morning League and the PSML Game of the Week, right here on Clutch Sports Media, and also by Baumgarten Distributing, who distributes Miller Lite. A great taste, refreshing, and less filling beer. Miller Lite. And also Brienzo's wood-fired pizza up in Peoria Heights. And Teddy, while we were mentioning both these teams, we want to take a look at the Sunday Morning League standings as it stands going into tonight's action. The Cruisin's Reds sitting pretty right now with a perfect 6-0 record. You see Miller Lite down there at 1-3, and Brienzo's at 0-5. Firehouse Pizza right there in the mix at 5-1. Tin Lizard, Poor Bros, and Move Smart right there in the middle. But again, still early here in this season.
As you mentioned, the Cruisin' Reds at 6-0. We've had our eyes on them the past few weeks, and really just off to a great start to the season, and obviously they lost last year against this very team, the Miller Lite Falcons, in the championship, but they're out for revenge this season and have no signs of slowing down.
And the Reds are looking real good, especially in the batter's box this year. Scrolling through the league leaders in terms of stats, lots of Cruisin's Reds players on there as Kenny Kelly fires in. That one is fouled off by Mitch Ball. And we'll be seeing the Cruisin's Reds here later in the year. You're going to see every team at one point or another on the Sunday Morning League Game of the Week as Ball laces one into center. Williamson there to make the grab for out number one. And we'll tell you who you'll see next week right here on ClutchSportsIL.com. Next Wednesday at 6 p.m. How about this? We're going to see these Brienzo's Orioles again and against the Cruisin's Reds.
Should be a great matchup. Obviously, two polar opposite sides of the standings, but anything is possible in any
why they
given
play the
game.
game.
Exactly. So, looking for any bit of confidence going into that next week.
And before that, or rather, actually, that will be Brienzo's next game after obviously the nightcap of the doubleheader. She'll schedule to start at about 8 p.m. tonight again. Sorry to break it to you folks, we won't have that game here on ClutchSportsIL.com, but you can also go to the Peoria Sunday Morning League website, see how that game will go down, and also if you have Game Changer, all these games are tracked through there. You can follow along as Luke Ketchum, the cleanup batter, hits one deep into center, but Williamson makes the grab. So he's been busy here in the top of the fifth. 2 flyouts, but 2 outs for Ken and Kelly and the Orioles, and Kelly really starting to really settle in now.
Yeah, ever since coming in, he started off a little rocky at first, but it comes with the pressure being put in the middle of an inning. But so far, he's definitely done really good. Hasn't let up any runs, and getting his defense a little bit more confidence going into the offensive end.
Give you some background on Ken and Kelly. Haven't really talked a ton about him. That one fouled right back by Chase Ulrich. The medal above us still vibrating. Kelly just wrapped up his freshman year at ICC. Lots of former, present, and future ICC Cougars in the Sunday Morning League. Coming into tonight's action, Kelly had thrown 6 2/3 innings and had a 3.15 ERA. That one popped up to the first baseman. And Campbell, that's rather Anthony Campbell to clarify, makes the grab and retires Chase Ulrich for relatively painless 5th inning for the Brienzo's Orioles. So we'll move on into the 6th. Ken and Kelly and the Orioles are holding the Falcons 2-5. They got to get some runs eventually in these next 2 frames, though. So we move on into the 6th. Big shout out to our sponsors for tonight's broadcast, Body Armor, the official sports drink of the Peoria Sunday Morning League, and Miller Lite from Baumgarten Distributing. I want to thank them for their longtime support of the Falcons of the Sunday Morning League, and also by Brienzo's Wood-Fired Pizza up in Peoria Heights. Next time you get some pizza, definitely try out Brienzo's if you're looking for some local flavor. Great thing about this league, Teddy, too, is all these sponsors, obviously maybe the Miller Lite sponsor, maybe a little bit misleading, as it's more of a national brand, but almost all these sponsors are local businesses.
Yeah, it's a great way for those businesses to advertise themselves and really just to get involved as well, getting the community to see that they're putting in work around, and maybe the community will go back and show support for them too. So all these businesses should be proud and excited to be in such a fun league.
Certainly, and in case you haven't watched our first 2 broadcasts, we mentioned this, I believe, on both of them, but going back, way back, 108 years ago in 1916 at the start of the Sunday Morning League, the reason why it started was because so local businesses and their workers could have a nice, healthy outlet for competition against each other. and just sort of just grew from there and has not stopped. And all the teams, obviously they were the names of their local businesses, and it's pretty much stayed that way all the way through. Although I don't think Brienzo's wood-fired pizza has been around since 1916. Relatively newer establishment, but one that's certainly very popular in the Peoria area. Drew Brown, the designated hitter, will lead things off in the top of the 6th. And Brown watches one away. Ball in the dirt.
I'll say one thing to mention is that there's really a great thing about this league is that it shows off that there's more than just a professional aspect of sports. Like, one thing I always like to go back to is the New York Fire Department and police hockey game that happens every year.
Oh, yeah.
That's always so fun, and just like this as well. But a lot of things you might think they might be called amateur leagues, but they are still top-level, high entertaining forms of sports.
Clay McConkey showing why this is a high-level league. He's made it real tough on Brienzo's tonight. That's his 3rd strikeout of Drew Brown, so he's rolling right along. I'll bring up Quentin McAllister. Top of the order right now for Brienzo, so if they're going to mount something, this is one of their best chances to do it. Big 12-6 curve from McConkey is grounded by McAllister over to second, and it's Durbin to Ulrich for the second out of the inning.
This Miller Lite team, at least in this game so far, definitely looking a lot more like what we are used to them in the past couple years. We talked about the slow start that they've had so far this season, but just in this game alone, looks like they got a little bit of their moxie back.
They certainly have, and they'll have a chance to get back up to 500 if they can win the nightcap tonight. And the pitch from McConkey to Adam Williamson. He's been busy in center field tonight. He's 0 for 2 at the plate. But we talked, Teddy, Miller Lite really was looking to try to get their bats going. And that one was on a one-way trip in the direction of our camera operator, Patrick Huber. And a couple ones come right back into our figurative living room. But, Miller Lite, as McConkey deals strike 2 there to Williamson, they had that loud second inning in which they scored 5 runs. Other than that, haven't had a ton of hits, but regardless, they've had some really well-hit balls. It's a sign that their bats may be turning the corner this year.
Absolutely, and you mentioned in this game they've been doing pretty well, but a lot of it goes to that second inning, the 5 runs in there. But even beyond that, they've just been able to put pressure and get guys on base that have stressed out the pitcher a little bit and definitely have had multiple situations to score more. We'll see how that will happen throughout the rest of the game.
Williamson ends the inning with a pop out to the second baseman, Bo Durbin. That'll do it in the top of the 6th for the Orioles, still looking for their first run of this contest. Miller Lite has a chance to add some insurance runs, but first, I want to thank our great sponsors for tonight's broadcast. Live here on ClutchSportsIL.com, starting with Body Armor, the official sports drink of the Sunday Morning League. For a great refreshing taste and variety of flavors. They'll hydrate you before, during, and after the game. Body Armor Sports Drink is your drink of choice. And also by Miller Lite and Baumgarten Distributing, located right here in Peoria. If you're a restaurant or a bar looking to have Miller Lite and other similar products, Baumgarten Distributing is your choice. And also Brienzo's wood-fired pizza up in Peoria Heights for delicious pizza that comes any way you want it. Get your custom pizza or order one of their recipes. Brienzo's great restaurant, a great atmosphere up in the Heights as well. Noah Campbell, first batter to get things started here in the bottom of the 6th for the Miller Lite Falcons. He's 0 for 1 with a walk and a strikeout.
You mentioned a good atmosphere. We got a little nice atmosphere here at the Diamond. Quite a few fans coming out, and obviously everyone watching live that couldn't make it. But
Yeah, it certainly is. Turned into a real nice night for baseball. A couple dozen fans. I'd say maybe around 40 to 50 people or so. And that's just a guess, including those of you watching at home. Again, glad you're with us here on this great Wednesday evening. I want to say it really does mean a lot for our viewers tuning in to these games. We know that, it's, summer's a great time to be outside as Campbell lifts one into left field. That should be caught, and it is, by Garcia. But, there's so many things you can be doing with your summer, especially during the evenings. It's really the best time of the year to do stuff outside. It's perfect weather outside right now, but wherever you are watching the Sunday Morning League Game of the Week, whether it's by yourself, with some family or friends, I want to thank you for tuning in. We'll be here every Wednesday this summer up until the end of July at 6 p.m. right here.
we'll say last week we got told that we had a few fans watching from St. Louis that were wanting to watch the game. We've been told quite a few crazy places from people in the past that have seen us in person. There was I believe some islands, right? If I remember right.
There was that one ripped back by Brian Quinn. Nice play by Kenan Kelly, and a little bit of a low throw to first, but Anthony Campbell, pardon the mess up, is able to corral it for out number 2. Yeah, a couple weeks ago, we may have had a new winner in terms of the furthest distance that a viewers watched from a couple weeks ago for our coverage of a softball sectional final game between Washington and Metamora. A Metamora parent told us that they had a family member watching from Venezuela.
Yes, that's what it was.
And but we did have, you mentioned Island. I know someone mentioned us to us last year that they were watching from Japan. This one has popped up. Will it be fair? Will it be foul? Doesn't matter. It goes into the glove of Campbell, and Colin Mormon is retired for Miller Lite. So Kenan Kelly just did a masterful job going through the Miller Lite order. Retired 7 Falcons in a row. So he's done his job. But as we move into the top of the 7th, it's time for the Orioles bats to do theirs. Got to make 5 to keep this game going, as we want to thank our sponsors for tonight's broadcast: Body Armor, the official sports drink of the Sunday Morning League, and also by Miller Lite and Baumgarten Distributing. Since 1965, the Miller name has been a sponsor of the Sunday Morning League. I want to give a huge shout out to them, and also, last but not least, Brienzo's Wood-Fired Pizza up in Peoria Heights. And Teddy, as Clay McConkey has been dealing so far today, we want to say, maybe, I don't know if there's an official name of a pitcher award, as McConkey is actually going to be relieved.
Brian Quinn to come in.
Brian Quinn, but this want to show just what Clay McConkey's been able to do. He's going to make some people say the Cy Young Award. Well, Cy who? It should be the Clay McConkey Award, the Pitcher of the Year. McConkey, a seasoned veteran. He's been around. This is his 16th Sunday Morning League season. And as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, all-time leader in strikeouts, all-time leader in ERA. And not long ago, Teddy, actually in 2021, he had a perfect ERA, absolutely spotless, 0.00 throughout the entire year. And he pitched a complete game shutout in the deciding game of the Sunday Morning League Championship last year against the Cruisins Reds. So he's certainly made for big-time performances, but his day is through. 6 innings pitched, gave up 3 hits, struck out. Got to count them all up. Too many for me to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 strikeouts for Clay McConkey and 0 walks.
Absolutely. You mentioned just this game, and in the entire history of his career, 16 years. But there's going to be guys that, like Brian Quinn, out there on the mound now, playing since 1993. He played like over almost 30 years, right at 30 years. And you just imagine how long McConkey's career can go. Who knows? Maybe 2,000 strikeouts will be on the horizon one day. But
hey, I mean, the rate he is going, he certainly seems unstoppable. And the Falcons are going to call time. It's Chase Ulrich running back out to first base. Had a fill in there as Ulrich had to get set, but he is back at his place where he started the game. That one is chopped. That is a fair ball. And Quinn fires it over to Ulrich to retire Anthony Campbell for Brienzo's, and out number 1.
How about Brian Quinn coming out there on the mound? We talked about earlier, 6th all-time in hits here in the Peoria Sunday Morning League. Now stepping on the mound. Really just super versatile for them, and been there since the beginning.
Big slider there to Dalton Strode, low for ball 1. But the Falcons, that's their strength, is their pitchers. That one popped right back to Quinn, and like a spring chicken just hops off the mound, makes the grab. Age is only a number for Brian Quinn. Still looking pretty spry out there, and Falcons just 1 out away from putting the finishing touches on this one. And really, Teddy, I think that's really the theme of this Miller Lite team. Again, obviously looking to get a little bit more back on track this year, but it's one thing they have going for them is their experience. Obviously with Quinn, with Clay McConkey, who's been around for a long time. Tim Cundiff, Sunday Morning president, who could still get it done on the field. You got guys like Cam Scott, the returning MVP. A couple all-stars who aren't even in the lineup, like Braxton Airy, Colin Deering. You have an SIUE committed in Tyler Bishop. You got Bo Durbin. Lots of weapons for this Falcons team. As that one is a ripped line drive for Jack Moylan. Rather, actually, I think that was a pinch hitter.
What an effort there by Cam Scott, trying to leap to get that ball just barely over his glove, but great hit nonetheless. Getting some sort of momentum heading into this second game.
This is going to be Andrew Garrett now again. There's a pinch hitter, I believe. Or rather, no, I believe that was Moylan.
But, John, I agree with what you said, though, when it comes to the experience part. Obviously, this team has been a dynasty for the last over 2 decades now, leading back to 2001. So they've had 8 championships since then. But really, all throughout sports, you see it, whether it's in the high school level, at pro level, or college level, or even right here in the Peoria Sunday Morning League. Experience and just team chemistry can go a long way.
Falcons looking to ride that as their season goes along. And we will see the Falcons again later in the year as Andrew Garrett draws a walk. So the Orioles are not dead yet. They got a pulse as Mario Garcia gets set to hit with 2 on and 2 out. See what Garcia can do. This point, name of the game is just get on base, and that one gets past Mormon. Runners are going to advance, so that'll make it 2 runners in scoring position now for Mario Garcia, who's singled and grounded out to short. Problem is for Brienzo's, they're down 5, so a base hit won't tie you or win you the game, but it could be a step in the right direction. Watches one right down Broadway.
Like we mentioned just a little bit ago, and even last week, pretty much the same situation. But you just get a little bit of, even if you can't win this game, a little bit of offense here in the 7th inning can go a long way, and to get some confidence into the next game, try to win that one. like we mentioned, any win in the Peoria Sunday Morning League can be so crucial. So losing 2 in one night definitely won't help.
That one hit well, but that one's foul. And that ball's going to reach the tree line back there and join the dozens of balls that are likely gone, at least temporarily. And again, Brienzo's, they've been knocking on the doorstep this year as Quinn is going to get to fire the 2-2. That one chopped down to the third, and he fumbles it. It's going to be a close play at first, and Garcia is safe. Ball game stays alive, and Jack Moylan comes across to score, so the Orioles add a late run. That's going to take away the shutout for Miller Lite, which was oh so close to happening. A hit like that keeps the line moving. Now 2 on and 2 out. Lane Reffert now the chance to do some damage. Don't turn off your laptops, your TVs, or your smartphones yet, folks. Tell your friends that the Orioles have a chance here in the bottom of the 7th. The top of the order and Drew Brown on deck. First, it's Reffert, who's 0 for 2. And Garcia just trots in the second base, uncontested. No throw there from Mormon. So base hit now could score 2. Cut the deficit in half. Reffert, a check swing. And the field umpire says he did not go. 2-1. Orioles dugout, loving that. Quinn deals another ball low and away, so Reffert ahead in the count, 3-1. Hitters count. This is about the ideal situation you could ask for. Pitch from Quinn is popped up, and this might do it. Miller Lite is going to hang on despite a 7th inning threat from the Brienzo's Orioles and take this one 5-1 after a big second inning in which they scored all 5 of their runs.
Really impressive outing for them. Obviously, they had the second inning where they got their all their runs in, but overall, pitching was the game for them. They were dominant all throughout, shutout through the until the 7th inning, and then Brian Quinn was able to get the job done for the Falcons. As for the Orioles, though, I mean, you get a little bit of a battle back there at the end, and it's 0-6 now on the season, looking for that first win, but you got a little bit of confidence heading into the second part of the doubleheader to perform. But great game by the Miller Lite Falcons. I don't know what you think, John.
Yeah, Miller Lite again. Those 2 clutch hits for Cam Scott. That bases clearing double to left center, and that double that started it all from Peyton Bradford that brought in 2 runs. Were the difference maker for Miller Lite, along with 6 innings pitched and no runs allowed by their ace, Clay McConkey. That's the recipe for success for the Falcons. Again, those 2 big hits, Miller Lite didn't have a lot of them tonight. They just had 4, but they got them at the right time. Final line score for them, 5 runs on 4 hits, no errors, at least by our count. We'll have to check with the official score, but I don't see any missed plays in the field today. Brienzo's 1 run on 4 hits and no errors. They fall to 0-6 on the year. Miller Lite moves to 2-3, the chance to get to 500, pending the outcome of this second game of the doubleheader, which we won't have for you here on Clutch Sports Media, but glad you stuck with us here. Again, Falcons winners this evening. I want to thank you for tuning in to the 3rd edition of the Clutch Sports Media and the Sunday Morning League Game of the Week, live from the Eastside Center here in East Peoria. So that about wraps it up. Miller Lite, your winners here tonight. I want to thank all of our crew for their work tonight. Josh Messenger, our producer, and Patrick Huber, our camera operator, and my broadcast partner, Teddy Ball. I'm Jonathan Michaels saying so long from the Eastside Center. The defending champion Miller Lite Falcons are getting back in business. The win over the Brienzo's Orioles. We'll see you next week for Brienzo's when they take on the Cruisin' Reds. But until then, so long, folks. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your summer. We'll see you right back here on Clutch Sports IL next week. Have a good one.